Hey guys, welcome back. And today is episode 2 of the Adlib podcast. With me today is the one and only Joe Paolella. How's it going, Joe?
I'm all good, mate. Thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm really excited to get into this second episode. Last week was a great one, and I'm really looking forward to the second one now.
Yeah, let's go.
And also with me today, here to bring you that fun trivia, Franco Rizzo. What's up, Franco?
It's going. Quite busy with editing stuff and looking forward for the second episode as well. Last episode was quite good, and I tried to fluff less this time.
Oh, yeah. I can edit it out if necessary.
Hey, man, do something, sir. Hey, sir.
All right. So the Adlib podcast is a show all about movies, TV series, and video games. The show is split up into 3 segments. In the first segment, we talk about movies and series we've been watching and any games we've been playing in the past week. We then switch to talking about the biggest news and rumors on the entertainment and media industry of the past week. And finally, we review and discuss a select number of movies and or series which come out in the past week. With that done, let's start off with the first segment. Franco, what have you been up to this week?
So I started watching Andor. That was really the first 4 episodes I really enjoyed, and it's the least Star Wars can get, and I'm really looking forward to continue it. And obviously, I've seen Pinocchio, which we'll talk about later on this episode, and I've also watched Pretend It's a City, which is Martin Scorsese's Netflix documentary series. It's almost more like essay series, together with Fran Lebowitz. He's a well-known author, a New Yorker. How that is a New Yorker.
New York.
No, it's. I found it's like an indirect love letter to New York again. To tell you the truth, since I haven't been long in Malta again, I still feel like I want to get out again, and it seems like the US will be the next step, and New York is really attracting me right now. So it was a nice, a different insight into New York. What I can say about the series, though, it's quite talky. So there's lots of stories being told. So I binge watched it. So for anyone who's planning to binge watch it, a word of warning: there's a heads up. But I enjoyed it, especially Fran Lebowitz. Her humor is really, really. The description said it's sardonic. She has a sardonic wit, and her observations are very unique. So I like that. And also something that that impressed me is the footage of old New York. It was restored. And I think the quality was upscaled. It was really interesting to see New York almost, I think, early 20th century.
Ooh, interesting. All right, Franco.
Good.
Okay. Joe, what about you? What have you been watching and playing this week?
Playing just more God of War Ragnarok whenever I get the chance, to be honest, and still really, really enjoying it. Wishing I had more time to be playing that. Watching. I've watched 3 of the films that we'll be reviewing later in Pinocchio, Bones and All, and Emancipation. And in terms of TV, I have watched another couple episodes of The White Lotus Season 2, which I can recommend to absolutely anyone, especially if you haven't seen the first series. Go back and watch that; it's very good. But I'm gonna throw you guys a question. I'm sure you guys have like a TV show or a film or just some form of media which you know is absolute like trash or garbage, but you still consume it anyway because it gives you like a dopamine hit, right? Like I'm not alone in this.
Transformers.
Yeah, okay. Because mine might be worse. Now, it kind of came to life in basically at one point during lockdown in 2020. I had moved up to Scotland to stay with my girlfriend, and I was never a fan of reality TV before, and for the most part,
Oh, no.
I'm not. But we, oh no, is right. But we did find a particular show on Netflix which we literally consume like terribly, and we get invested in like the storylines, and it is too hot to handle.
Oh, God.
And earlier this week, the 4th season was released, and we binged 4 episodes of it, only to find out that the rest of the season is being released next week.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be completely honest, guys, there's a giant hole in my life right now.
I mean, this is worse than Transformers. Also,
Oh no, it absolutely is. Like, I'll try and defend it and say like, oh, it's edited really well, because all reality TV show is made in the editing booth. Like, absolutely. But there's something really, like, I want to say, like, primal about watching these really good-looking idiots go toe to toe with each other. And it's just really entertaining. And like, I pick sides, and my girlfriend picks sides.
Joe,
We love the drama and everything.
My mouse is currently hovering over the block button. This might have to continue as a duo show.
I mean, to be honest, on YouTube there's some reruns of Kitchen Nightmares.
No, I'll admit I love Kitchen Nightmares, so I get the primal.
It is the one vice I have. Like, I even at one point, when I was watching Too Hot to Handle, I'm like, maybe I'll like Love Island, and I went and I tried Love Island, and it just wasn't the same. Because if you haven't seen Too Hot to Handle, the whole hook of the show is it's about getting these people who are basically sex addicts or sex obsessed.
What?
And they have to form meaningful relationships, and they can't have any form of intimacy. So basically, there's a $200,000 prize pool, and if you commit any like if you break any of the rules, money gets reduced from that, and then sometimes the fines get doubled. So, like, for example, there was one season where like 2 people had gotten caught, they fully had sex, and they lost like $60,000 from the $200,000.
Wow.
So it's got a more unique hook to it, which just adds to the drama, like, because it makes people hate each other. Because then you get the ones who are just there for the money, and they're like, "You guys need to stop like kissing each other because we keep losing $4,000 every time you guys kiss each other."
Okay.
But yeah, if you guys are ever violently depressed, I highly recommend it. It's bound to pull you out of a hole.
Violently depressed, not horny, for sure.
Yes. It's just I can't believe like it's the stereotype of like they're almost like just Barbie and Ken dolls. They're just like really good looking and like in really good physical condition, but there's nothing behind the eyes.
Speaking of which, what do you guys think of Greta Gerwig's Barbie?
I can't wait.
I can't wait. I don't know. I'm assuming it's going to be a massive mess, but I think it'll be a fun mess.
It's just interesting, but I really like because apparently it will be released on the same day as Nolan's Oppenheimer.
I know which one I'm seeing first.
Barbie.
And it's Barbie.
Really? Just,
Wow.
No, I think it's going to be quite good. Like, one thing I heard about it is, have you guys watched Sex Education on Netflix?
no.
No, not yet.
Okay, I haven't seen that either. My girlfriend watched it, but there's a certain actress in it called Emma Mackey who kind of actually really looks like Margot Robbie.
Uh-huh.
And apparently she's going to be in the Barbie movie, and they're going to be playing on the fact that she looks like Margot Robbie, which I think is genius casting. And as a result of that, like, writing for like a bit about Barbie. So it's like, even that sounds clever. So it could be really good. I mean, how bad can it be with Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling and Greta Gerwig involved?
Very, that's actually true.
I actually liked how they how she poked fun at Oppenheimer as well, because they released a similar poster. Was that fake? Or did they do it on purpose?
I don't know if I know what you're talking about.
Oppenheimer poster.
Yeah, there was the Oppenheimer poster, which was it was this like explosion cloud.
Yeah, I'm seeing it now.
And then there's also the Barbie version as well, because it
There
happens
is.
to be.
I don't know about this. I'm seeing the Oppenheimer poster. Came out in July.
Oh wow! I really hope that this Barbie one is legit. Okay, it's fan created, but it's absolutely brilliant.
All right, okay. But to be honest,
Like,
honestly, after I've seen Tenet and how
crap it was.
it's not crap. Technically, it's not crap, but
It's just a mess.
It's a beautiful mess. But I really not liking the attitude he's taking. Like, dude, the sound was bad.
Yeah, the sound
okay.
thing
Yes,
is starting to become...
So
I saw it in an IMAX, and this is pretty bad.
for me, I've wait. No, I saw it on my laptop, and it was bad. So you can imagine, the sound is really bad. But don't justify something which is absolutely bad. Just say, okay, you're right, guys. And it's like he doubled down on the Bane on the Bane mask.
Yeah. Though, now, I saw recently today about Oppenheimer, and it makes me excited for stuff like that. Where apparently, this is Nolan just being Nolan. Apparently, none of the explosions in Oppenheimer
are CGI.
Are CGI. He just blew shit up, and I have all the time in the world for that.
Yeah, all the nuclear explosions are practical, basically.
Yeah, I kind of feel like after some of the negative press that Tenet got, he's full on mad scientist movie maker now.
But how much of Tenet was CGI? I don't remember exactly. Do you guys remember how much?
I'd imagine a lot.
No, it was quite practical. The airplane crash was practical.
The airplane crash, I remember.
That I remember they made a big deal about it.
Practical. I think it's the...
I mean, obviously, a lot of stuff is just reversed. I'm assuming.
Yes. The reverse one were actually reversed. So they had.
Yeah, but it's got that big set piece at the end. I can't believe that he didn't use quite a bit of CGI in that.
The set piece for sure. Where there was the building being blown up for nothing, just to show the how cool the effect was, basically.
The building exploding was so random. Look, cool explosion.
Okay.
That's what Oppenheimer's going to be, just blowing shit up for fun.
We'll see, but it's got quite the cast. Say Murphy finally is getting a central role.
Yeah. I'm actually really excited to see Robert Downey Jr.
Sorry, not Cillian Murphy, Cillian Murphy, sorry.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if Robert Downey Jr. is actually going to start being an actor again.
Cool. After Iron Man, of course.
True. And obviously, our Lord and Savior, Florence Pugh.
Yes. I mean, to be honest, it's already at least a 3 out of 5, the fact that she's in it. So.
Okay. Exactly. Wait, even Matt Damon is in it.
What?
Yeah.
Matt Damon.
Looking at the cast right now, there's Matt Damon.
Damon.
I just hope this time he's not a cameo role, because it feels like Matt Damon has been dying to be in a Nolan movie for years, and the best he got was just his short 5 minutes in Interstellar.
Oh yeah, actually is.
True.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to be rescuing Matt Damon again in Oppenheimer, but I fail to see how that's going to be the case.
He's going to backstab Oppenheimer, most probably. That's what it.
Yes, he's going to have to.
Matt Damon been doing recently?
Good question.
Last Duel, which I haven't seen.
Yeah, Last Duel was good. I enjoyed the Last Duel.
I enjoyed it as well.
It's a medieval Russia one, right?
France.
Yeah, medieval. I mean medieval Russia one. It's a Russian one style.
Oh yeah, I thought you said Russian one. Yes, Russian one.
No. Russian one.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to check that.
And Ford v Ferrari. Ford v Ferrari as well.
That was pretty good.
He was.
I didn't mind either.
He was in some crypto adverts, and now they're blowing up in his face.
No. Another one.
Another one.
Okay. In my case, I have a few series going on right now. I finished Wednesday with Jenna Ortega and Christina Ricci, which I really liked. I think it's a really well-made series, visually quite pleasing. Some very good casting choices with, like I said, Jenna Ortega as Wednesday. Catherine Zeta-Jones and Louis Guzman, and the few scenes they had were brilliant. I want to see a whole movie with them as the Addams family. I was surprised to see Gwendolyn Christie in it as well. She's the principal in it, and she was very, very good as well. So overall, Wednesday, I highly recommend if you want a fun series to binge. Nothing out of this world, but I mean, it's been doing the rounds on Netflix. Quite a big success. I watched episode 3 of Willow, which if you watched last week's episode, you know I really hate, but it's one of those series, like Joe said.
You masochist.
Once I start a series, the worse it is, the more I'm inclined to watch it.
Hey, Lalo, you're a completionist. I
have to. I can't accept having wasted like an hour and 50 minutes I just have to waste another 5 hours. No, screw it. I'll take the loss. Well, I can't take having wasted an hour and 50 minutes and not finishing off the series. Anyways, to be fair, episode 3, it's still bad, but at least there was a lot of action and it got a little darker, which is... But as long as the actors aren't speaking, the series is fine. I have this thing with medieval fantasy and even just medieval series. If I hear an American accent, I just can't take it seriously. I don't know if you guys have this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I tend to agree.
That was probably the new Dungeons and Dragons movie.
No, yeah.
Oh, don't. We don't talk about such things here.
I mean, we're talking about Willow right now, so...
Yeah, let's be frank. You're talking about Willow.
So that's Willow. On a much better tone from myself, I started with Yellowstone, which is really, really, really good. I highly recommend. I'm on the 3rd episode right now of season 1, and it's quality television. It's quality television.
Okay.
Really,
Taylor
really
Sheridan, no?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, my boss is a very big fan of that show and Taylor Sheridan's work.
Very, very good. Highly recommend. It's not very popular in Malta. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it here in Malta. Probably because we don't get Paramount Plus.
Yeah. I thought it was on Fox.
No, it's on Paramount Plus.
Okay. No, but I heard that it's one of the series that it's getting the Republican viewers, lots of Republican viewers. Funny
that's
enough.
Interesting.
No,
I'm not. I mean, I still haven't completely understood the politics going on behind the characters, because I know it's very, very political. I'm still trying to gauge kind of what leanings these characters have. I mean, it's set in Montana, so my first assumption is they're all conservatives, but still, it's interesting because there are some very nuanced characters. Even after 3 episodes, I can already see Kevin Costner is brilliant in this so far. He's really, really good. And Kelly Riley, I don't know if I've ever watched anything with her in it, but Kelly Riley as Beth Dutton.
Kelly Riley she's English.
I only know her from the Sherlock Holmes movies.
From the Sherlock Holmes movies.
What's her name? Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie on.
She was Watson's wife.
That's the one.
She was actually in a film. I haven't seen it yet. It's been on my list for ages. Eden Lake, which I've been meaning to watch for a while.
That's with Michael Fassbender, no?
Yes, and Kelly Riley.
That's a great movie. It's what did they call it? There was Dustin Hoffman back in the Dogs.
Straw Dogs.
Straw Dogs, yeah. It's like
movie.
a modern day Straw Dogs. Oh, she was in Calvary as well. Martin McDonagh's Calvary.
Yes, of course. Isn't that Martin McDonough's brother?
Yes, you're right. Joe. It's John Michael McDonough.
Yeah, thought so.
I can't wait to watch Banshees of Inisherin. Yeah.
I've seen it twice in theaters already.
Fuck off.
How are we going to watch it, Franco? No one's showing it here.
It's coming to VOD soon, so I'm sure you'll find completely legitimate ways to get your hands on it.
Apparently, it's gonna be on 23rd of December on Disney Plus. Funny enough.
Yeah, because it's a Fox movie.
Yes.
Yep, Fox movie.
Okay, fair enough. So I'll watch it that way then.
So 23rd. So 23rd is a date with.
There's a lot on the 23rd, if you remember the list. Quite a few movies coming out that day.
Yeah, doesn't Glass Onion come out that day as well?
Glass Onion comes out that day, and there is also 2 movies coming out in the cinema. Oh, there's Babylon coming out on the 23rd.
That's going to be a hot mess. I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait for the. Yeah, that's exactly it. Hot mess.
What are they saying about Babylon?
Some people absolutely love it. Some people absolutely hate it.
Okay.
So.
I mean, for me, the trailer hooked me in, huh? So
yeah, no, that's why it looks like nuts.
All right,
and I mean, there's Margot Robbie in a very
and Brad Pitt
apparently hot movie, so
yeah,
that'll pull me in. And Brad Pitt, yeah,
Brad Pitt.
Talking about Brad Pitt today, as I was waiting for my students, a random YouTube video came out with him in. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and there was this scene with him fighting against
Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee, and that scene was so good. It had me in tears. watching it again. I really need to do a rewatch of that movie.
That's good.
Actually,
good.
Very good film.
by the way, Joe, I ordered Cinema Speculation. I'm looking forward to reading the book.
Lovely. You will not be disappointed.
And you should also listen to the Video Archives podcast. Last time, he was speaking about Brian De Palma's Dress to Kill.
All right.
Interesting.
And in fact, it's on my watch list as well, Dress to Kill. Old vintage Brian De Palma was quite good.
Okay. By the way, guys, have you ever watched his Dark Materials? Because I know that series is on its third episode, I believe, of season 3 or 4. Season 3, yeah.
I watched like 3 episodes of season 1 back in Christmas 2019, and I remember it being quite a painful experience. I mean, I have no relation to the source material.
I
as
read the
well,
books.
so-
That's why maybe
The books
I
are
have a
great.
soft spot for it.
I mean, my girlfriend had read the books, and even she was like on the series. She was kind of like, "Yeah, this kind of sucks."
Let's chill.
Isn't it much better than the movie? Do you remember the
Oh
the
yeah, no,
movie
the
which
the
came out
movie.
I don't. I remember the movie being bad, but
that
I
Nicole
can't tell you I
Kidman?
remember it.
in it?
Yes.
Yes,
Madonna,
Nicole Kidman.
that was so bad.
They got Ian McKellen to voice a polar bear, which in any other movie is a great idea.
And Daniel Craig as well, right?
Man,
Yes.
Daniel Craig. To be fair, what's his name?
Oh,
James
James McAvoy.
McAvoy.
Yeah, James McAvoy.
Yeah.
He's in it, and he's quite good in it.
I'm sure he is, because he's just a good actor. So
All right, guys, shall we move on to the next segment? Because we have a lot of
Flana.
news to talk about today.
Flana.
yes, that we do.
All right, so first, big news. Let's start with the big DC news. So, according to Hollywood Reporter, the reports are in that Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 3 is not moving forward and is considered dead in its current incarnation.
Oh no.
Yeah. Sources say that Jenkins recently submitted her treatment, co-written with Jeff Johns, and that Gunn and Safran, as well as Warner Brother Pictures co-chairs and co-CEOs Michael DeLuca and Pamela Abdi, broke the news to the filmmaker, telling her the project as it stood did not fit in with the new plans. It's unclear how any future Wonder Woman movie and Gadot's portrayal of the hero would fit into the new DC plan. It's weird because Gadot tweeted randomly a couple of weeks ago saying, "Can't wait to share her next chapter with you." And it's completely unclear whether Gadot knew about the plans that Gunn and Safran had about cancelling Wonder Woman 3 or not.
It'd be a real weird thing to tweet if she did.
Yeah, that's actually very, very, very weird.
Yeah.
So let's stop there for now, because obviously this story develops in quite interesting fashion. What do you think about this Wonder Woman development? Joe, let me start with you.
I won't comment. I mean, like I was sarcastic there and said like, "Oh no," because we're not going to get another Wonder Woman movie. But the sad thing is about it that obviously some people like are technically losing a job out of this. I'm sure they'll go on to get other jobs, and it was nice to see Patty Jenkins kind of reviving her directorial career a little bit. But I'll comment on the wider DC scope, and we chatted a bit about this off air, Andrea. With James Gunn in charge, I very much saw. I'm assuming you guys have both seen the Suicide Squad, yes?
Yes.
What I took the Suicide Squad to mean, in the fact that for anyone that has seen the Suicide Squad, spoilers, skip the next 20 seconds if you haven't. In the opening part where he effectively kills the original Suicide Squad from the first movie, I kind of saw that as Gunn going like, "This is mine now, and I get to do what I want with it." Like, that's why I think Peacemaker is safe, and it's going to be its own thing, and it's a brilliant TV show, and I hope I'm right about that. And I very much think now they're going to do the thing which DC should have done all along, where they shouldn't have tried to be another Marvel and make this giant interconnected universe of shit. I think they're just going... Some are going to be connected. Like, I could very much see another Harley Quinn movie coming around, or even a Harley Quinn series.
But there's,
as I said,
there's
Peacemaker was way too successful and way too well reviewed to be left alone, I think. I think the Matt Reeves Batman is very safe because it raked in loads of money, it raked in critical reviews, and audiences liked it as well. So yeah, I think now they're going to take it in the direction of, we have all these really great comic book characters. We don't need a DCEU. We just need great bits, like great products to come out of this IP. And I'm actually all for that, because I'm much more a DC person than a Marvel person. So yeah.
With DC is kind of darker, no? Even as far as themes go.
yes.
And inherently, yes, because I mean, if you look at like the big one of DC, which Marvel will never have, and it's just kind of obvious, is Batman, because Batman has the Joker, which is kind of, the Joker is referred to as the best comic book villain like ever written, who is kind of inherently dark, and sometimes he's the more light-hearted, like jokey Joker. Then, like, I mean, there's been iterations of him where he literally skins people's faces off and attaches them to his own face.
Nice.
So, exactly. I'd like to see more of that, and even the glimpse that we do see of, spoiler for the Batman, the Joker in the Batman, it does seem like a much darker iteration than we even saw with Heath Ledger's Joker.
Barry Keoghan.
Yeah.
There was actually, they released an image from the new Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. And,
I did see that, of him just getting shaved.
Yeah, Lady Gaga's going to be playing Harlequin in this one, right?
Yeah, I'm intrigued about that, because I do like Todd Phillips' Joker. I mean, I think some people blew it up to be this masterpiece, which it wasn't, because it is essentially Taxi Driver meets the King of Comedy with a comic book character.
And that's why I still haven't seen it, because it was blown out of proportion. You know, maybe 5 years later I watched it.
It's worth a watch, definitely, just because it is very different to the usual superhero oeuvre that we see nowadays. But I'm interested with Joker too, because allegedly it's a musical.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask. As in, I don't get the musical part. I know a lot of people in Prickly Pears were excited about this being a musical. I just couldn't get why.
I mean, we live in a society.
I mean, but the thing is, I can see it going like two different ways, I suppose. It could go the way that Franco has just said, with the singing "We live in a society," and that could have its own hilarity, I suppose. Or I suppose it could be like a pseudo musical where I guess music plays a much bigger role than it normally would in a film. But
or maybe
again, I don't know. I don't really rate Todd Phillips that highly as a director. Again, with Joker, I thought he was very much just not even paying homage to one of cinema's greatest ever masters, but more just it's the kind of thing of like, oh, Mum, can we get Taxi Driver? And she's like, no, we have Taxi Driver at home. And it's Joker.
I had a good time with Joker, to be fair. I enjoyed it. I loved the
soundtrack. I like it. The soundtrack is a particular delight. I don't get me wrong, I do like it, but again, I just thought it was a little bit overblown, because I heard I had people coming up to me, people that know I like films, like, oh, have you seen Joker? Like, it's a fucking masterpiece, bro. And I'm like, okay, slow your roll.
And it was a massive success in the box office as well. I think it made over $1 billion.
Yes, but I mean, it was one of those films that came with controversy as well, because it was, inverted commas, a superhero movie that premiered at Venice Film Festival, and it didn't win Best Film that year at Venice Film Festival.
I believe
it won the Golden Lion.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
it won the Golden Lion. Very well.
Yeah.
Well done, Senna. Have I been living under a rock?
You have. It was the year after I went to Venice, because I went to Venice the year before.
By the way, talking about the soundtrack for the Joker, the composer Hildur Gudnadottir.
Yeah, the Icelandic guy.
Hildur Gudnadottir. Sorry about the pronunciation.
Hildur
did Tar and Women Talking. Two movies I'm really looking forward to watching.
I can't wait for Women Talking. That sounds so up my alley. It actually hurts.
Definitely.
That's Harry Potter. Oh.
Yeah.
Is that coming out in
no, not Harry Potter. Sarah Polly.
Sarah Polly, yeah, sorry.
Sarah Polly.
I can't speak for Malta, but it'll probably be coming out in cinemas here in Scotland.
People of culture, Scotland. Scottish people.
Let's go back to the DC information. So, Wonder Woman. Did you like the second Wonder Woman? Let's start with that first.
Haven't
Franco.
seen it.
Have you watched it?
No,
The second
I
Wonder
haven't
Woman?
seen it because
Haven't seen it.
I'm making a point that I want to see a movie that's worth my while. In fact, I was planning to compare Pinocchio with Disney's Pinocchio, but I said, is it worth my time? You know,
I don't think it is.
I see the first Wonder Woman, not bad, but there was a moment where David Thewlis as a how do you say it? David Thewlis?
Yeah, Thulis.
Thewlis.
Yeah.
David Thewlis as Ares, as like
Yeah, I
it
didn't buy
was-
that.
and he goes, "Then you will die." It's like I don't know how
And the
cheesy that
CGI
was.
was
Yeah, it's very
horrific.
ham-fisted.
It felt like I think I said that the last act felt like it wasn't like, oh, we need an action sequence. The last time you mentioned James Gray and others are needing more action. Same, I think it was the same with. Did they have reshoots? I think the last act was reshot, right, by the Wonder Woman.
I wouldn't be surprised to hear it was reshot because it felt so ham-fisted and forced in. Like, to be fair, the majority of the movie I had a good time with, as in I watched it in the cinemas when it came out. The World War I scenes, especially, were really, really well shot.
Yeah,
as
quite
in
good.
Oh yeah, no, I
Very
quite
emotional at times.
I enjoyed most of the first Wonder Woman.
But the last 30 minutes were...
Yeah, kind of loses it. It's got CGI fest.
And it really didn't need to be a CGI fest, as in, it was fine as it was, telling us
Yeah.
a simple story, World War I drama, but suddenly it felt like they needed this big CGI baddie at the end. I really don't get
Yeah.
it, because, as again, the majority of the movie was written really well and shot beautifully. And the action was, the music was so good, it's nice emotional scenes.
Oh, the Wonder Woman theme
The
is
theme song, yeah.
actually one of my favorite bits of music, like related to a superhero in a long time.
Same,
It's that, and it's the Michael Giacchino score for the Batman, where he literally turned him into Darth Vader, which is sick.
So I don't know. I watched the second Wonder Woman as well, 1984, and it was bad. It was
Yeah, I
pretty
was gonna
bad.
say, I was
did
going
not
to, but I
enjoy
didn't.
it.
I didn't hear any good things about that.
No, I don't know what happened to the CGI, because when I go to watch like a DC movie, I would expect, even if it's a bad story and it's a boring movie, at least some decent CGI. But there were some really bad scenes. I don't know. It's probably because it was shot during COVID, so that might have affected it. Sorry, not shot, but the post-production was done during COVID. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that did not help at all.
Like Cat's level of graphics.
It's more like there are scenes of her jumping where it looks really awkward, where her movement just does not feel natural at all. I don't know how to explain it completely, but it was not a good time. It was not a good time.
There was not the uncanny valley, most probably.
Yeah.
That's it.
But it's the jumping. It's the jumping that was the worst. The jumping and her whip. Her whip looked really bad as well in it.
Oh, actually, Corridor Crew did do a breakdown of this scene. They did mention the jumping, if I'm not mistaken.
The jumping, I don't know. It looked really off. It, like, her movement did not look natural at all. And I mean, considering, for example, the quality of CGI on something like Man of Steel, which you might hate the movie, but you can't deny the action scenes are quite decent.
Man of Steel. Someone, I don't know if it was Corridor Crew as well, but they commented about how accurate it was in the physics. Like
That's the thing. I mean, contrast Man of Steel with Wonder Woman. The movement is night and day.
And to be honest, I really liked Man of Steel. I don't know why it gets the hate, especially the fact that it. I think this is going to go into our discussion of Pinocchio as well. But I like that he actually made the sacrifice that he kills, and
that's the moment I think that shocked a lot of like hardcore Superman fans.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Like, you get the hero to break their cardinal rule in their first movie.
And you know what I also imagine? The insurance paid with all that destruction. Imagine all the people like fucking Superman and all his distraction.
It sounds petty, but one thing that annoyed me in that movie was the blatant product placement of IHOP, where they have a fight in an IHOP.
Paciencia. I remember commenting about it in the cinema.
I was like, come on, like they could have fought anywhere.
Guys, can I say something which I think you might consider leaving the podcast right now?
It's Andrea, it's okay. I watch Too Hot to Handle.
Please. Oh, fair enough. Do you know what is a DC movie I didn't completely hate, which I will defend till the end?
If you say the original Suicide Squad, I'm going to break everything.
No. I hated the original Suicide Squad. No. I hated the original Suicide Squad. But I didn't hate Batman versus Superman.
Mortal.
Oh, same.
Really? Yes.
Didn't hate it.
Mortal.
Didn't hate it.
Franco, you hated it.
It didn't tickle my fancy as much as Man of Steel, to be honest.
I didn't hate it. The extended version was better.
The extended version was better.
I haven't seen the extended version.
Watch the extended version.
Okay.
Actually, worth watching. It gives a lot of context, a lot of decisions taken.
Yeah, I have issues with it because it takes a lot from the graphic novel and the animated film, The Dark Knight Returns Part 2. And that's incredible. And obviously I wasn't expecting Snyder to do like The Dark Knight Returns Part 2. But like, yeah, like it kind of just like loses it a little bit towards the end. And then
that's true.
When Abomination comes in, I was just like, why is it called Batman v Superman? They fight for like 3 minutes.
Same issue as we were talking about with the first Wonder Woman, with the random CGI.
Didn't need it.
I hope that's something that James Gunn can work on in future DC projects. They really don't need this random, or at least if they're going to add a random CGI monster, at least make it, at least explain where it came from and make it part and parcel of the story. It's the same thing with Black Adam as well. This random monster pops up in the last 30 minutes of the movie. It's like, I don't get why they have to do this.
You actually put yourself through Black Adam?
Yep, I did.
I'm
I paid €9 as well.
I'm planning to watch Black Adam as well, just to see how The Rock did. And by the way, no one mentioned Shazam.
Oh, Shazam's okay.
I have not watched Shazam yet.
I think Shazam is kind of what it needs to be, because like, it is like an 11-year-old who gets the body of a superhero. So it kind of what it needs to be. But Andrea, you mentioned like not going to like CGI like big baddies at the end. I do love the inclusion of Starro the Conqueror in the Suicide Squad by James Gunn.
Yes, but that's because it's visually intriguing. It's
and like it's done well,
and it's done well exactly.
And like it's not David Thewlis pretending to be a Greek god.
But surprisingly, Starro, I was like, oh my god, a starfish is a baddie. But surprisingly, it was,
and there was a build up to it as well, which helps.
Yeah.
At Polka Dot Man. Oh.
And Polka Dot Man, oh my god.
Because that's the thing about DC as well. Despite being like the darker of like the two like main comic lines, it has some ridiculous shit in it. Like you say, a giant starfish as a villain. But guys, like King Shark, who is one of the best characters in the Suicide Squad, and I can't believe they got Sylvester Stallone to voice him, and I'm so happy they did. But like, it's just a humanoid shark that's essentially invincible.
I feel like I feel like Gunn didn't put much effort in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 as much as he's putting effort into DC.
But to be fair, he's been working on Volume 3 for quite a while now, so I think he was pretty much done. He's just doing advertising and marketing at this point.
I feel Gunn is more DC material than Marvel.
Imagine
guys, more freedom.
In his last post-production act, he just kills off all the Guardians just to see Marvel's market value drop as he takes over at DC. Like, they're all dead now.
I think Feige would sooner die himself than let that happen.
Have you guys checked? He had this movie, Brightburn.
Oh yeah, he was a producer on it, Brightburn. Yeah,
He was a
but it was like, what if Superman was an asshole? It's at least I haven't seen it, but I know like a lot about the story around it. It's like some kid who has like essentially Superman's powers, but then he's also a psychopath.
He was a writer. He was a writer on Brightburn as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
He writes with his brother.
Mark Gunn. Yeah.
Yeah, quite often.
Okay.
And Sean Gunn as well, who does like the
Sean Gunn,
mocap
yeah.
for like Rocket and stuff like that. But he did do as well. I've never seen it, but I've always wanted to. It was from 2010, Super.
With
Rainn Wilson. Yeah, and now Elliot Page.
All right. Well, I haven't
Which
watched
was
that
a
either.
guy who just like, it's basically like Kick-Ass, but not Kick-Ass.
Is it as good as Kick-Ass?
I mean, its reviews on Rotten Tomatoes I'm looking at right now are pretty middling, but there are some people that really defend it.
It's become a cult actually.
Yeah, but a bit of a cult
true,
classic.
true,
Kevin
true.
Bacon's in it, if that counts for anything.
Fair enough. Okay. Talking about, because we have a lot to say about James Gunn.
Yes.
Next thing we need to mention is Superman. So the Henry Cavill situation is a little weird because obviously we had Cavill appearing in Black Adam in the post-credit scene, and that brought a lot of cheers in the cinema I was watching it in. And I think a lot of DC fans are going to be quite disappointed when they hear about Cavill possibly not having any future in the DC anymore after being given that hope of him coming back, especially after he dropped out of the Witcher series, which I thought was the sign that his future was Superman, more Man of Steel movies.
So.
Did you? So you guys enjoyed Man of Steel, apparently. Joe, I don't think you commented about Man of Steel.
I remember at the time I was a little bit younger. I really liked Man of Steel, but then as I revisited it, I'm like, okay, this does have issues. I think you can lose the entire Krypton sequence at the beginning. And I still don't know how I feel about him killing General Zod. But then overall, it's a very cool, very grounded Superman, and I think Henry Cavill is a very good Superman. Particular fan of Amy Adams as Lois Lane as well. Like casting match made in heaven. But yeah, it feels a bit like tough for Henry Cavill at the moment. It feels like properties that he really cares about, he's kind of getting cut loose on, because allegedly, I don't know if you guys saw, I don't even watch The Witcher. I've played the video games and read some of the books, but apparently he left that of his own accord because he didn't agree with what the writers were doing with the character.
There are reports, and it's not confirmed, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Fans have
there was
obviously
that...
jumped to his side.
Michelle. There were those comments by one of the old producers and writers on the show about some of the showrunners hating The Witcher.
Yeah.
I watched the series. I'm not the biggest fan. I love the video games. I love the books.
Yeah.
I'm on the third one right now. But the series, as in, he's brilliant. Cavill is literally Geralt. He is just Geralt. He was born to play that role, and I'm very sad he's not going to be in it. Considering he's not going to be in it, probably I won't continue watching it after season 3. As in, it's not worth watching The Witcher without Henry Cavill.
They've got Liam Hemsworth to replace him, which like I haven't seen enough of Liam Hemsworth to make me go like, oh, I'm going to watch something with Liam Hemsworth in it.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know about that. As in, no comment about Liam Hemsworth, because like you said, I haven't watched him, I think, anything. So, honestly, I can't comment. But Henry Cavill, for me, was Geralt. He was born to play that role.
As Hunger Games, you haven't seen Hunger Games?
No, I refuse to watch the Hunger Games.
The Hunger Games is the Jennifer Lawrence show anyway, so...
No, I refuse to watch them. Although I like Jennifer Lawrence. I really should watch them, actually.
The Hunger Games are okay. The first one is actually quite good.
Okay, so moving on, guys. There's still a lot in this story. So next up, you guys haven't watched Black Adam, right?
No.
Not yet. Yeah.
Okay, so I was very surprised to read this because apparently the movie has only grossed $385 million worldwide. And there are reports that it's going to make quite a big loss, actually, considering there's The Rock as a lead, which this is quite a surprise. It's going to make quite a loss. So there is a big possibility that even Black Adam will be cancelled, basically, and this will be his only movie. And there are also reports about Jason Momoa, who whose next movie, Jason Momoa, is... Remind me, guys. Jason Momoa is Aquaman.
Aquaman.
Yeah.
Whose next
Aquaman, yeah.
Aquaman 2 will be the last Aquaman. And instead of Aquaman, he will change his role to the character of Lobo. What do you guys think about Jason Momoa, guys, as Aquaman and his possibility of turning into the character of Lobo? Franco?
I haven't seen Aquaman 2 comments. Apparently the second James Wan is going to direct the sequel as well, or he directs the sequel.
Yes,
Apparently, yeah.
I have to check. I have to check them out. There was a sequence where James Wan leans into the horror element.
I mean, I've seen Aquaman and I can't think of that sequence. But
Horror in
That's just
Aquaman
me.
1? No, neither can I.
no, I think he had said that like in the build-up as press because he is James Wan, like acclaimed horror director. And I must have watched it looking out for that, but I don't recall.
Joe, what do you think?
I've seen the first Aquaman and like then I don't really have many thoughts. I kind of actually at the time I did kind of feel like this is like someone tried to make an anime but a movie. and not a very good one because I'm quite a fan of some anime. Jason Momoa as an actor, I think actually I've got a lot of like time for Jason Momoa as a person because he just seems very positive vibes and like just seems like a good dude. I don't think he's the best actor. I think he's very much like The Rock, where he plays the same thing in everything he's in, which he plays Jason Momoa. He doesn't actually act. That being said, I did feel he actually showed some semblance of talent in Dune, where he was Duncan Idaho.
Yeah,
Definitely.
He fit Duncan Idaho. Sorry, he fit the character of Duncan Idaho.
Yeah, I thought he really did. I mean, again, he's not someone who's going to struggle for parts. I don't think. I wish him the best. I don't care too much about Aquaman being brutal. I really don't care about Black Adam, and it's going to sound really, really pessimistic or cynical. I really, really don't care about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson anymore. Like, I'm so over him being The Rock in every movie he's in, and people praising him as a good actor. It's okay to enjoy him as The Rock, but I don't think we need so much like clout of him being in everything. If that makes any sense.
By the way, is the sequel that he's gonna lean more to the horror? James Wan apparently.
Okay. All right.
Inspired by one of he's becoming a director I'm looking out for, Mario Bava.
Okay.
We'll see about it.
Yeah, we'll see.
So that's pretty much all we had to say about the DC universe. Basically, will it be a complete cancellation of all the Snyderverse? Will they still have shows like Peacemaker going on? I don't know. Probably this story will continue to develop in the coming weeks as James Gunn and Peter Safran plan out the future for DC. I think if there's one person I can trust with the future of DC, I think it is James Gunn. His past products, movies, series have been overall quite good. Okay, guys, let's move on to a movie I am quite excited to watch next week, which is Avatar 2. Have you guys seen the reactions by the press to Avatar 2? It's been actually quite positive. Franco?
I'm trying to avoid reactions and whatnot, and go watch it without any expectations.
Joe?
I have seen the reactions and they seem overwhelmingly positive. And I'm not someone who I don't love the first Avatar. I think it's very entertaining. I think for the time it's a technical marvel. I think the new one is going to be a technical marvel as well. I did send you guys in the week when the news came out that scene from South Park, which features James Cameron and raising the bar as the greatest pioneer. Where my favorite lyrics from that part are no budget too steep, no ocean too deep, James Cameron. Where the guy is so cocky but self-assured, where I don't think it's right to doubt him ever again with what he's done, because yes, it's been 12 years since the last Avatar. But the guy has frequently done it throughout his career. Like he did it with Terminator 2, where he waits for technology to advance in order to bring his vision to life. So the guy, he's obviously like on a different frequency to like anyone else on Earth, I think, and he just knows what he's capable of. So I think, I mean, I had moments where I was like, I bet the Avatar sequels are gonna suck. I still don't think we're gonna see the proposed, I think 6 Avatar films was initially proposed.
Yeah, 6.
I think we'll maybe see 3, 4 at most if it keeps going this way, which is still an achievement in and of itself.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I'm more than cautiously optimistic. I'm optimistic for my viewing at the weekend, and I'm actually going to go see it in IMAX and 3D because that's allegedly the way that the greatest pioneer wants me to see it. So be it.
And make sure you pee and do the do before you go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
very, very long.
Yeah, there's no intermissions in the UK as well. So
Nah, but I think it's best for me to go in there without any expectations, because it's also been happening recently. It happened with Triangle of Sadness actually. They hyped the movie up, and then it was just like it was an okay movie. Triangle of Sadness had some great sequences, mind you, but it wasn't as it wasn't worth the hype.
fair enough.
You know, and so that's why I'm trying to avoid any like reading reviews and seeing reactions, etc.
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah, I get doing that. I tend to do that a lot with horror films, mainly because like news and trailers tends to ruin them.
And considering many trailers, the directors and writers are not even in charge of making the trailer.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
what really scares me. So I just watch trailers for big blockbuster movies where spoilers are not really a big deal. Like again, Avatar, The Way of Water. I mean, there's nothing really to spoil. You're going in for the experience, not really for any big spoiler action, which is going to happen.
He has a thing with water, Madonna, James Cameron.
Well, yeah, he's always wanted to be like a deep sea diver, and he just he made movies in order to fund that dream, which is it's an insane way of going about things. But
He dreams to become a fish, basically.
yes, so like
I've heard the fish looks bloody good in this movie, though. That was one of the reactions I read, actually. That he completely ignored the story and just stared at this fish for like 2 minutes in the scene. Because the reviewer was like, this fish looks so good.
There was again, Corridor Crew. Shout out to the greats over there. Corridor Crew mentioned how good the water was, like even the reflections, and like Joe said, he's really making great use of technological advances now.
yeah. I mean, you have to assume the water's going to look good when like its tagline is the way of water.
Yeah.
So,
Have you guys seen The Abyss?
it's actually been on my list for years, and I've just never got around to it.
It's really good for I don't know if it's stuff. I'm wondering if
No,
it's
I haven't watched this.
I'm wondering if it aged well, but I remember watching The Abyss. My father actually was recommending it because of the liquid special effects. It was quite good.
Yeah, I'm sure it's good. Does James Cameron have anything which like isn't like 4 out of 5 or less? You know,
The James
And
Cameron.
it won Academy Award for Best Visual Effects. So
yeah.
The Abyss. Oh, yeah.
I mean, the guy turned Robert Patrick into like molten steel in Terminator 2. Like,
How good Terminator Toaster.
oh, so good.
And he has one good thing, James Cameron. He gets butts into seats at the cinema.
Yes,
The guy
yes.
just is a money maker. He
Yeah,
knows what
he-
people want to watch.
And he believes in watching films in the cinema as well. So more power to you, Big Jim.
He actually was a screenwriter for Alita Battle Age. I didn't know that.
yeah, he was going to direct
on
that as well, I believe, at the start. And then,
It's like, nope, I'm too busy making water.
all right, guys. So another interesting news, especially for horror movie fans, with Mike Flanagan, who is officially leaving Netflix and has moved on to Amazon Studios, according to Deadline. Flanagan and his creative partner, Trevor Mackey, or Macy, it's M-A-C-Y, signed an exclusive series deal with Amazon. Next week after this news broke, Again, according to Deadline, Flanagan, and I will assume his surname is Macy, known, like I said, for a lot of work in the horror genre, basically announced that they're going to be working on The Dark Tower. Flanagan revealed that he has written a pilot script and season outline for The Dark Tower, and it's been 4 years his dream project. Joe, have you watched any of Mike Flanagan's products, and have you seen the latest Dark Tower? What are your expectations?
So, I have seen all of Mike Flanagan's work bar his latest, The Midnight Club. On the whole, very, very big fan. I remember particularly being impressed with him with like his first breakout, which was Hush, which was kind of like a break-in thriller about a deaf woman who lives in a house alone in the woods, and there's someone trying to break in. It's actually his wife in that, Kate Spiegel, who he puts in a lot of his things. Really liked The Haunting of Hill House, thought was a very interesting adaptation. Haunting of Bly Manor is a bit less good. His adaptation of Gerald's Game is very good. Doctor Sleep is interesting as not a sequel to The Shining, but as a sort of companion piece, I think. More of a sequel to the book. But yeah, this just feeds more into my theory that Netflix are destroying themselves because, you know, this great big studio in Netflix, they don't want to give actual directors these vanity projects to make. As they said, Martin Scorsese only makes gangster films, right? So they're obviously fed up of Mike Flanagan getting rave reviews for everything he releases, and now Amazon have snapped him up. So, I mean, I say more power to Mike. I haven't seen the latest Dark Tower because of the really, really bad reviews it got, even though I've read a couple of the Dark Tower books and really enjoyed them. But yeah, more power to Flanagan. I'm actually excited to see what he's going to get to do. Amazon seem to really give people freedom when they let them do stuff, and they've got Bezos money, so they're just going to throw money at stuff.
Yeah.
So
You haven't seen Midnight Mass. Have you guys?
yes, I have seen Midnight Mass. Midnight Mass is awesome.
Midnight Mass is how
It's so good.
It was a slow burn, but goddamn was it good.
The performance is I bet you.
the
So
priest.
good.
Yeah, his wife is in that as well, Kate Spiegel. She plays a role in that as well.
Yes. There was a moment in there that really broke my heart. How he sacrificed himself.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Wait, and it's something that stayed with me. And it's actually, I think it's Kate Spiegel in the scene as well, where she cries and screams her heart out, and then
Yes,
and then
it cuts the black. Yeah, really good. He's a very big fan of long takes as well, Flanagan. In fact, one of the episodes of Hill House was entirely one take, and I have a lot of respect for directors willing to do that. So.
And speaking of trivia, they used the same technique for the vampire's glowing eyes as Blade Runner.
Oh hell yeah! That's a really good bit of trivia. I look forward to Franco's trivia every week now.
I really would like to do that. It's a question of a two-way mirror.
Okay.
Like you know when Blade Runner.
Yeah, like the replicant. I should know this as a Blade Runner nerd, but continue.
Shame, bling bling.
Look, we can't. I've only watched the 4.5 hour making of the documentary 3 times, so I can't take in everything.
Oculus was quite good by Mike Flanagan. And
yes, it's another one actually. Oh, Oculus is very good. The guy likes his horror, and I like horror. So again,
he makes very good horror.
No, I'm also looking for it because I have the series of Dark Tower. It was very enjoyable. Like it's a great melange of Western and sci-fi, and the mythology is great.
So thematically, and tonally, how would you say? Because I was going to watch The Dark Tower with Idris Elba, but I think I watched the first part and I stopped and I never got around to watching it again.
I avoid that version like the plague. So I think it's.
How would you describe it?
It's a very ambitious project. It's a very ambitious project because, like I said, Stephen King really mixes lots of elements: Western, fantasy.
Yeah, I'd say The Dark Tower is huge.
Yeah, it's
almost perfect for a TV series, though.
It is. And there's also the question of multiverse as well, right, in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's in good hands.
All right, guys. Because we are an hour in and we still have another big news to talk about.
Yeah, sir. Come on, some discipline, sir.
We do need a bit of discipline, which is the Game Awards.
Yeah.
So, Franco, this interests you a lot.
Bye.
Bye, Franco. Bye.
All right, I'm going to go through like the awards I think that interest most people the most. I love soundtrack, so I'm going to start off with Best Score, Best Music, which was won by Bear McCreary as God of War Ragnarok. Joe, you are currently playing God of War. What do you think about the soundtrack?
So the first God of War soundtrack, 2018, was also done by Bear McCreary, which was one that I really, really regret missing out on, because I do buy soundtracks or albums I really like on vinyl typically, even though I don't own a vinyl player anymore in the country I live in. But at the time I did own a vinyl player. I really regret not buying. They did a special edition vinyl where it was 2 big vinyls. One of them was like a blue marble, the other one an orange one, and they were so cool. Incredible soundtrack. It still goes I think that soundtrack literally got me through my thesis because I just have it on in the background. And so good. And so far in God of War Ragnarok, he's just brought it home again. He's an incredible composer. He also did the soundtrack on The Rings of Power, which, say what you want about the show. Even I was listening actually today to Bear McCreary speak about how he basically constructed that soundtrack. And it's thoroughly interesting. If anyone is at all interested in that, IndieWire did a deep dive with Bear McCreary on that. But I think well deserved. There's no one better at the moment, at least in video games, working on soundtracks.
I love his soundtracks, but can I be honest with you? I think the only soundtrack I was quite disappointed in, and it was, I think the one thing I was most excited about was the Rings of Power soundtrack. I thought it was a little too low-key for a series like
I don't know.
Rings of Power.
I think what we're losing out on there is when we've seen The Lord of the Rings before, it's been in a theater and you have that big Dolby sound and it kind of kicks your senses ass. So,
but I have a really good sound system here.
Fair enough.
I spent the big bucks on the
fair enough. I would like
system.
to do that one day when I eventually have the big bucks, but we'll see.
So, for example, I watched Blade Runner 2049 here and Dune.
Another great soundtrack.
That's an
Another great
experience.
soundtrack.
And I didn't get that kind of experience out of Rings of Power. Now,
Fair
it
enough.
could be I was caught in on all the negativity on that series because I was caught in on the negativity.
Yeah,
of
I
that
remember
series.
you posting a lot about it. I disagreed with you a lot vehemently, but I kept stum about it. It's just to not be antagonistic. But each to their own. Each to their own.
If I may interject, that's the kind of concern that I have with the Dark Tower series. Actually, if I hopefully it's not some femboy fantasy, but with Mike Flanagan,
You're saying I have femboy fantasy?
Rings of Power was actually they do call it Bezos' femboy fantasy of Lord of the Rings, you know. So
yeah, I guess.
but with Mike Flanagan, we're in strong hands. Plus, they do have what's it called? Barry Jenkins made a series over there, something.
Oh yeah, he made the Underground Railway. Really good.
Yeah.
That's
really
so
good series.
good. Oh, that's really, really good.
Oh, you were saying about games. I'm okay.
Really quickly before we move on to the next one, Joe, I am a big fan of the Dark Souls soundtracks. What did you think about the Elden Ring soundtrack?
Oh, I mean, it's fantastic as well. But I feel like sometimes I struggle to appreciate the soundtracks in those games, just because when they really hit you with a great soundtrack, you've got some giant boss who's either a giant wolf with a sword in its mouth, or it's just some sexual genitalia looking fucking giant thing, and it's about to fucking kill you, and you're going to spend hours trying to beat this thing. So I feel like sometimes you can't always take in the beauty of their soundtracks. But
Now you're going to make me cry because you remind me of Civ.
Yes, I'm sorry. But they do make incredible soundtracks as well. They could definitely be up there with Bear McCreary.
Apparently, actually, one way to beat the bosses is to actually listen to the soundtrack because they move according to the tempo of the song. Some trivia I heard.
I don't think I can
didn't know
focus on
that.
that when I'm shitting myself, Franco, but thank you for the advice.
So again, I'm going to be a little negative here. I was not too impressed by the soundtrack in Elden Ring as well.
Yeah?
As in, I think the Bloodborne soundtrack is one of my all-time favorite soundtracks. I think
Fair.
the soundtrack in Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3 are, again, some of my absolute favorite
Dark Souls 3
soundtracks.
is great, yeah.
The Dark Souls 3 soundtrack and the soundtrack, the song played in the final boss battle in Dark Souls 1.
Yeah.
The piano riff, oh, that's so good.
Sekiro has a great soundtrack as well.
Sekiro has a really good
soundtrack.
soundtrack, but the Elden Ring one, there are some one-offs which I really liked. The gods, what are they called? Those two assholes who kick your butts.
The Godskin duo.
Godskin duo, oh god. The actual boss battle was horrifically designed, but the soundtrack was really good.
Yeah, I thought Radahn had a good soundtrack as well.
The Radahn had a really good
Really good
soundtrack, but that was a really disappointing boss battle for me because I found it way too easy.
Same. I was going to say I found Radahn way too easy. I was expecting to get my ass kicked. I beat him first time.
Lalo. I beat him the first time, so I was like, what? All this hype, and he looks so awesome.
Mela,
and then you beat him, and
guys.
it's that easy.
Mela.
Franco, we're talking games. Go away. He actually left.
Bye, Franco. All right, really quickly because we have to rush through this.
Yes.
Best art direction was won by Elden Ring. What did you think about the art direction in Elden Ring, Joe?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it's kind of what it seems like with Elden Ring is they say in games there's development cycles where obviously that happens over a number of games. It feels like now with Elden Ring, they have truly hit the end of a development cycle where it's taken all the best parts from Dark Souls 1 all the way through Bloodborne to Sekiro. And then it's come to Elden Ring, where then it's taken inspiration from games like Zelda Breath of the Wild with the way its open world is designed. And it does have that very gothic fantasy like inclusion in it. It does do away with some of the more horror elements that Bloodborne had. But I loved Elden Ring. I can't really fault it. My two games of the year, even though I haven't finished Ragnarok, were Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok. So I don't lose in this case.
And in fact, that brings us to the Game of the Year award.
Yes.
With Elden Ring winning. I know many people expected it to win, but given that God of War Ragnarok had quite a few awards, I think it won more awards than Elden Ring did.
I think it won like 7 awards. It won a lot of the technical ones.
But Elden Ring took like the most important award.
Yes.
Do you think it deserved it over God of War Ragnarok from what you've played of Ragnarok so far?
I mean, again, I don't lose in either of these. The only thing I do prefer in God of War Ragnarok, and this is just me as an individual, I love a very compelling and involved story, which, like God of War 2018, God of War Ragnarok absolutely has. Where it's extremely cinematic, it's extremely emotional, it's extremely well written. Elden Ring is kind of just like, okay, you're in this world, there are these like gods, you need to become Elden Lord, and that's basically it.
I've not commented a lot about Elden Ring. I played the whole thing. As you may know, I'm a massive Dark Souls fan.
Yeah.
Bloodborne is my all-time favorite game.
Never played Bloodborne.
It's so good.
I'm waiting. I'm hoping and waiting for a remaster just to be able to play that with 60 FPS on a PlayStation.
I would love a remaster. I think I hope it doesn't come out because I have a lot of stuff to do, and if a remaster comes out of Bloodborne, I think I would just cancel the whole podcast exactly. But Bloodborne is still my number one by From Software. I mean, it's my number one from anything.
Yeah.
I don't know how I compare Elden Ring to Dark Souls 3 because I had a really good time with Dark Souls 3 as well. And I don't know how I compare Elden Ring to Dark Souls 1 as well, given that Dark Souls 1 was my first ever Souls game. And it has a very, very, very soft spot in my heart. I love streamlined games. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm over open world games.
Yeah, I have to agree.
I'm over it, and I have to blame Activision for that because I used to love the Assassin's Creed games and the Far Cry games, and I think those games ruined open world games for me.
Yeah, I tried Assassin's Creed Valhalla recently, and I'm just like, Ubisoft, what are you doing? There's way too much to do here. I'm so bored.
Yeah. All right, so that's with regards to the Game Awards. Now, the announcements. So
Yeah.
I'm going to really, really quickly go through
Yeah, we can skim
the
through
three
these.
announcements. Yeah, let's just mention
Yeah.
them, Joe. So we've got Diablo 4, which I'm really excited about. I'm a big addict of Diablo 3, so Diablo 4 is just more Diablo. Suicide Squad, obviously, with
Yeah.
Kevin Conroy's last performance
Yeah.
as
I
Batman.
feel like I'll play it just because of that now.
Yeah. I also wanted to mention Lords of the Fallen. I haven't played the original Lords of the Fallen. I heard a lot of criticism about it, but it's
Yeah.
a Souls-like game. So if it's a Souls-like game,
You're
I'm going
in.
to play it.
Yeah.
What about you, Joe?
I think I'll try Lords of the Fallen. I tend to fall into these games. In terms of games I was looking out for, it's nice to see From Software are branching out from Souls-like games, and they've announced another Armored Core, which I've never played Armored Core, but I'm a very big fan of Titanfall, so fighting robots, I'm kind of in already, and very good studio.
Have you played any of the originals? Sorry,
No, never.
Joe.
I think I might have, maybe somewhere down the line, like on PS2 or something, but I can't confirm. Hades 2, because I really liked Hades 1, so just more of a roguelike dungeon crawler. I'm in straight away. Judas, which is the new game from Ken Levine, which people will know as the creator of BioShock. Now, the thing I'm going to say on this is I'm growing very quickly fed up of creators of great games leaving their original studios and going to another one or starting another one and kind of just making that game they originally made, but different. It's like, I'm sure you've heard of the Callisto Protocol, which is the guy from Dead Space essentially making Dead Space again. And Judas kind of looks like Ken Levine just making BioShock again. It looks incredibly like BioShock, which it could be really good. Like I could just be being cynical, but I mean, I digress. I like new things. Jedi Survivor, which is looking exactly as I expected it to, and I will definitely be playing that.
Should I play the first Jedi? What's it called?
Yeah, if you
Fallen Order?
if you like Star Wars, absolutely, it's a very good Star Wars story. It plays very much like a Dark Souls. I mean, a lot of Dark Souls fanboys are right now. They've got snipers aimed straight at my head, being how dare you compare the two of them? But its core heart is very much a Souls-like game, where there are like, instead of bonfires, the like rest at, there are like force meditation zones.
Okay.
So you'll definitely enjoy it, especially now because it was quite buggy on release. They've gotten rid of a lot of the bugs, so yeah, you'll definitely enjoy that. I want to give a shout out to Hellboy: The Web of Word. I think it's very cool that we're getting a Hellboy game, which looks very stylized like the original comics. More of that, please. And the last one I'm going to mention is one that I should have been excited for, but I'm not, because I adore the creator of this. I adore his previous work, apart from when he started doing this. And it's Hideo Kojima with Death Stranding 2. Because Death Stranding 1, forgive me for lack of a better term, in my opinion, sucked dicks.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't played it, but I have it installed because it's available on Xbox Game Pass for PC.
Yeah, so the world of Death Stranding is incredibly dense and interesting. And you do have these very interesting, very highbrow concepts from Kojima, who is obviously very intelligent and quite obviously wants to make movies, but is deciding to make games instead. Especially with the people he's including, like the fact that he's working with Mads Mikkelsen all the time. Norman Reedus is back in this one. Lea Seydoux is back in this one. I believe Elle Fanning is going to be in this one now. I think Guillermo del Toro is back. Why am I listing these people in a video game?
But he works with Mads Mikkelsen where? Apart from
In Death Stranding. Mads Mikkelsen is in Death Stranding.
But that's there was no other. So he's also in Death Stranding 2 as well.
I'm not sure, but we'll see. But I mean, there's always like, for some reason there was a time where on Instagram he kept posting pictures of him with Mads Mikkelsen like just eating sushi or like getting soup and stuff.
There's also Conan O'Brien in Death Stranding as well.
Yeah.
And what happened with PT playable teaser?
Don't. That will take me 4 hours to go into. Let's leave PT alone, because it would have made me the happiest boy on earth, but it's gone. But yeah, my problem with Death Stranding is that the moment-to-moment gameplay is just extremely tedious. It is essentially just transporting stuff from one place to another over very harsh environments in not a fun way. When there is combat, it's extremely simple and just very bad. I'm open to Death Stranding 2 being better. I wish that the great mastermind of Kojima would do something better than this, for lack of a better term. But
More fun.
yeah, exactly. I could be proven totally wrong. It could be that he didn't have enough time with Death Stranding 1 to do everything he wanted to. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. All right, guys. So that's it for the news. We had a lot to talk about this week, huh? And we're going to move on to the next segment now, which are the reviews. And I'm going to start with the first review here. I'm going to talk about a movie everyone, literally everyone, has watched, which is Strange World. Okay, so I'm joking.
I'll be genuinely
this.
honest. I didn't even know this was a forthcoming film.
Neither did I. The only reason why I knew is because I did a lot of research, and you have to do a lot of research to know this movie is out.
Oh, wow.
Okay, but surprise, surprise, I did not hate it. I expected to dislike it at least, but I actually had a good time with it. The trick when going into movies like these is not to be pulled in by the aura of negativity, I think, surrounding a certain franchise. So, like with something like Emancipation, I did my best not to think of Will Smith. Same thing here. I know Disney right now is not in the good books of many people, either because of the CGI controversy or because many people claiming they're pushing a lot of agendas and whatnot. And it was the same thing with here. I did not see any agenda in this movie. The elephant in the room is obviously there being the first very clear, very obvious LGBTIQ inclusion, with Ethan being one of the main characters, being gay. And I really don't know why such a big deal was made out of this, because honestly, it's just another relationship in the movie, and that's pretty much it. So I don't know why so many reviewers and a lot of these YouTube commentators made such a big deal out of it. But I don't get it. But anyways,
Jabuki Young White.
Sorry,
the character, the voice.
Oh
actor,
yeah. It was actually quite good. Actually, the voice acting I'll comment about in a bit I was surprised by how good it was.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal was pretty much the best one here. Okay, so overall. Tell me, Franco.
No. Say your review first, because I want to make a comment about this whole agenda thing. But go for the review.
All right.
First.
Okay. So the movie overall has its issues. Don't get me wrong. So it's not a perfect movie. It's not going to be one of my top 10 movies of the year. But the work done, especially by the visual artists, the designers, the animators, is fantastic. Honestly, the monsters in this were really, really, really great to look at. The whole world is fascinating. The color palette was really, really good. I think overall, my highest praise must go to the design of the whole thing. It's beautiful to look at, and I was really happy to watch this in the cinema, surprisingly. And I was not sad at all to find out that it's coming out on Disney Plus on the 23rd of December, because I think it's a movie to experience in the cinema. With regard to the story, basically it's a very, very simple story. You've got Jaeger Clade, who is an explorer. He's determined to find out what lies beyond the mountains. His son, Searcher, who is the voice actor for Searcher, is Jake Gyllenhaal, doesn't want that kind of life, the explorer life. He just wants to live, like a quiet life. So he leaves his father's expedition. His father never returns from his expedition, and 25 years pass. Searcher has found this kind of resource, and something's been happening to the resource. They never really get into the details about this resource. It looks like a seed which basically powers everything. It powers all the electricity. And so they must travel into this strange world to find out what's going wrong with this resource that basically powers their whole town. And basically, it's one long journey throughout different landscapes. That's another thing I loved about this movie, the diversity in the landscapes, which were very, very, very interesting and fascinating to watch. Voice acting was pretty good. I thought Jake Gyllenhaal, like I mentioned before, was the best voice actor here. He did a really good job. Thematically, I think there are a lot of lessons here for kids, mostly for kids. It's a movie clearly aimed for kids, but I don't think adults will be bored watching this. I know I wasn't. It touches onto a lot of themes, like, for example, the exploitation of resources, and clearly they're referring to the overuse and over-extraction of fossil fuels. Overall, I had a good time. The one thing I will comment about it is I don't get why Disney completely forgot about this movie. Like, literally, no marketing was done for it. And obviously, it was a massive failure. It only grossed, I believe, 11.9 million across its opening weekend. And reports are saying that Disney are set to lose over $100 million on this project. Which probably means that, Disney won't be releasing their next animated movie too soon in the cinemas. It's like I said, it's gotten its Disney Plus release date, and hopefully, I hope, because I really, really had a good time with it, that can help garner some attention, like what happened with Encanto on Disney Plus. Franco, what were you going to say about the agenda thing?
No, there's recently I feel like even with this thing about the Little Mermaids, I think they're focusing too much on the color of the skin and the identity rather than the character, and I think it's becoming a new form of racism. I would feel like. I mean, I don't care about whatever the character identifies as, whatever their skin color is. Give me a good character. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what if this character likes women or guys or if they're black or they're Asian. But if you don't give me a good character, you're losing me. And it's like they're shooting themselves in the foot, and it's become more of a marketing ploy rather than an essential part of a character. I mean, well done. There's more visibility, granted, but if it's not a good character, you're just not really helping the community. You're actually making it worse for the community. That's what I feel like.
But the thing is, as in the fact that Ethan was gay, really is not an important part of the story. It's just there, and that's it.
That's the thing. That's the thing. It's like if it's not, I mean, just let it be. You know, I mean, okay.
But it's just a normal relationship, and like, as in, if it wasn't a guy, it could have been a girl, or like,
no, for sure.
I think the only people really giving it any importance, because Disney clearly didn't, because they didn't market this for shit, are the YouTube controversy generators. To be honest,
they did make it a point that, hey, it's our first openly LGBTQ character. I mean,
I did not see any marketing for this movie, so I can't comment. I searched for it and I didn't find anything.
Not even on Variety. Like when they interviewed Jabuki Young White, they made it a point about this.
As in, obviously they're going to mention it because it's the first gay main character in a Disney animated movie.
And actually, this episode is going on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see the comments on about this. But I saw another screenwriter, I guess, who made this comment. Like, listen, he doesn't care, like, what the character, whether the character likes guys or boys or whatever, you know, like, he can be of any race, any denomination, but give me a good character.
To be fair, the characters were quite thinly written. If that's another criticism I would have for this movie. Yeah, the characters were quite thinly written.
So it's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, this is not like I'm not okay. Still, still is a very important movie. And like, or what else? Lovecraft Country. Lovecraft Country was a great. I felt it was a great series, and it touches on race. It touches on LGBTQ issues. She Said was also a good movie, you know, especially if it has an agenda. But some companies have this cynical approach to these kind of issues, that it's all a marketing ploy, and then, like you said, then the characters are written, the movies has issues. So, like, we're gonna mention Pinocchio soon enough. Like this Pinocchio, they had a black fairy. Fair enough. I mean, nothing wrong with that. But the movie was like badly reviewed, and it brought nothing new to the genre, basically. As opposed, now we're going to speak later to Guillermo del Toro's stop motion Pinocchio.
So that review comes after this. So Joe, you watched Bones and All.
Yes, I
What did you
did.
think?
So a little introduction to Bones and All for those that don't know. It is directed by Luca Guadagnino, previously of Call Me By Your Name and Suspiria fame. He brings back Timothée Chalamet, who he's worked with once before, along with Taylor Russell, the two leads. And the plot is as follows. Abandoned by her father, a young woman named Marin embarks on a 1,000-mile odyssey through the back roads of America, where she meets Lee, a disenfranchised drifter. But despite their best efforts, all roads lead back to their terrifying past, and to a final stand that will determine whether their love can survive their otherness. This is the cannibal movie, guys. for those that don't know. And yes, there's the whole thing up in the air of, why didn't he bring back Armie Hammer to be the cannibal that he is? But let's not go over that. I'd rather not touch that. But I will say, I was very excited going into this. I don't know what kind of trailer you guys saw for this, but the only trailer that would play in theaters in the UK when I'd go to watch another film was this incredible, like one of my favorite trailers in a long time, where there's just like cool parts from the film out of context to a really cool Leonard Cohen track, and an incredible trailer, which just made me more excited to see this. But yes, I went with my girlfriend to see this. She came because she's a big fan of Timothée Chalamet, not such a big fan of cannibalism, as it turns out. But even to be fair, even she really enjoyed it. The film is much more Taylor Russell's film, which, if you guys haven't seen Waves by Trey Edward Schultz, what the fuck are you doing with your lives? Go watch that movie. She's in that, and she's wonderful in that, and she's also great in this. Mark Rylance makes an appearance as the creepiest motherfucker you've ever seen in your life, and he's
Mark Rylance, I love this guy.
He's so good.
He's always good, but he's so fucking creepy in this movie, but like in a really good way. But you do have, I will say one thing, you have to buy in pretty quickly, like, not to spoil anything. Guadagnino kind of goes like, this is a cannibal movie, guys, like pretty quickly, and you do have to buy in quite quick. But I was wondering, because the trailers did give it this vibe of like being a bit like Terrence Malick's Badlands, and then like harkening back to like stuff like Bonnie and Clyde, which there's definitely the DNA of those movies in this. But it actually is more about, as it's mentioned in the plot description there, it's more about pasts, and specifically about trauma. And when you, like, there was a certain point in the film where I was thinking, I mean, I think we've all watched enough films, like, by now, we can all sense when they're sort of about to end. Like, at least I can sense when the third act of a film has hit, and that's when I start going, like, oh, what have I really thought of this? And I was thinking toward the third act of this film, like, this is good, but it hasn't, like, fully done what I wanted it to do. But then it goes, like, fully in on its third act, and its ending is just, like, I was like, fuck, like, really, really good. I really, it's really strange to say that I really enjoyed a movie about people eating each other. But no, it's, I mean, there's obviously an element of gore in it. There are some quite, like, stomach churning scenes. I'm very big into horror, and gore doesn't really get me that badly. But I mean, my girlfriend did okay. She didn't have to like cover her eyes like massively at certain scenes in this. But yeah, it's very emotionally effective and weirdly entertaining, I guess. I want to say it didn't feel long at all. It felt very well paced. The editing, it is like Guadagnino just tried to like do something which should have come in the new Hollywood era and do it now. And especially with its subject matter, it does feel very much like that. Like, who the hell would have thought we're gonna get a love story about cannibals in the year of our Lord 2022? I certainly didn't think that. But I'm glad we did. I really enjoyed it, and I implore you guys to go and see it.
Yeah, I need to go watch it. I thought I was going to watch it this weekend, but apparently NBC aren't showing it. Apparently NBC aren't fans of
Cannibalism.
cannibalism. I'll have to watch it this coming week, though,
Yeah.
before Avatar comes out,
So
obviously.
you said it's emotionally affecting. You said
Extremely emotionally affecting, I thought. Because as I said, it is more about trauma than anything else, I think. And on Creepy People, as I did sing Mark Rylance's praises, Michael Stuhlbarg, who was also in Call Me By Your Name, he's been in a couple of things recently. He was in Shape of Water as well. He also plays a creepy motherfucker in this movie. Like, I mean, it's kind of full of them. It's a movie about cannibalism. But no, like this is weird. I root for the cannibal couple, I guess.
Oh, damn.
no, that's
I'm assuming Michael Stuhlbarg and Mark Rylance are all cannibals, right? Oh, don't say.
Yeah,
Don't say a bit.
I won't say anything.
Now,
Weirdly enough, there's actually a character in this movie I didn't know who the actor was, and it turns out it's the director David Gordon Green, which is interesting.
Isra.
Okay.
No, but I do like movies that make you sympathize with characters, unsavory characters. So if it's
Yeah, that's the thing. Because as I said, by the end of this, you get what Guadagnino's trying to say with the cannibalism and with the unsavory aspects of these characters. I really thought it was really well done. It's definitely strongly in my top 10 for the year, probably top 5.
So you suggested to Mario Vellner, right?
Absolutely, Mario. right fucking now, go watch that shit.
Good. I'm really looking forward to watch this. I just have to find the time. Man, next up, Franco, you're going to be reviewing Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Hey, Pinocchio. So I found Pinocchio's performance a bit wooden, but this
Did you have to do that, man? Come on. Boo. Boo. Like, I admitted to watching Too Hot to Handle, and that's still the second worst thing to happen on this episode. Like, boo.
No. But that jokes apart, I liked it. And Del Toro has this knack for making some really dark fables. Now, I think I haven't watched The Shape of Water, mind you, but I find that also has that element of being a dark fable. Kate Blanchett in the behind the scenes says it perfectly. She said it aptly that it's a Trojan horse for big ideas like fatherhood, grief, freedom. Didn't expect the musical numbers, and which I'm not particularly a fan of. But I can mention that I loved the look of Death and the Wood Sprites. Were amazing, and it felt like it was quite the passion project too. And I don't know who mentioned this. I don't know if it is a quote by Del Toro himself, where you animate the ordinary to show the extraordinary.
I like that.
I like that a lot.
And I think this was a comment by the people who didn't like this version of Pinocchio. Del Toro he said it as well, that he latched onto the idea of Pinocchio being an outsider. I mean, would you see a wooden, like when you see a wooden board talking. You know, it's you couldn't be more outsider than that. And he also latches on to the themes of conformity as well. The character of Pinocchio is very non-conformist. So like he doesn't obey. So the idea that he also includes fascism into the proceedings makes sense. Still, I can understand why the detractors said that this felt a bit added on to the movie. It didn't feel as quite gelling with in the movie as Pan's Labyrinth, you know. But yeah, I still liked how Guillermo del Toro transformed it from a story of conformity, because funny enough, the original Pinocchio story, when he becomes a real boy, it's always like obey your father, be a good boy, blah blah blah. It became one of rebellious self-acceptance. That's the fact how the ending changed. I liked it. It's a bold choice. I think that this is what stories need, not a rehash like Disney are doing with their live action adaptations.
Definitely, I agree.
And like there's one particular scene. Maybe I'm spoiling a bit, but it's funny too, because like Geppetto is fixing the wooden crucifix after it got bombed in the First World War, and Pinocchio goes. He points to Jesus and he says, "Why do they like that guy and not me? He's also made of..."
Oh, that was so good.
He's also made of what he said.
Yeah, that scene was so good. I love that scene.
I forgot about
that. That's it. But so for anyone who's going into Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio expecting a Disney Pinocchio, you're going in for the wrong reasons. That's what I have to say.
Anything but.
Yes.
Anything but. Joe, what do you think about Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio?
I actually quite enjoyed it for the most part. I do think that, I mean, like, obviously it's an absolute technical marvel because the stop motion is so good. I've always loved stop motion. Some of my favorite films of all time are stop motion. But I've actually listening this week, I don't know if you guys listen to the Blanket Check podcast. They're actually doing a series on Henry Selick, like about The Nightmare Before Christmas and then James and the Giant Peach, and how stop motion was back then to see it now, how it is today. So I've got a lot of stop motion appreciation right now in my life. But I do just wish that the story was as well finessed as like the stop motion was, and the art direction, like this, everything is superb in the way that it looks. Like, I mean, a special shout out to, as Franco mentioned, Kate Blanchett, who plays Spazatura the monkey, which I mean, there's no lines of dialogue there. She just makes monkey noises, which fair play. If that's something you can claim as an acting role. But no, overall, I'm like, the Disney one is something, not the latest Disney one. I don't hate myself that much to put myself through that. But the original Disney animated movie was one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid, despite the Pleasure Island sequence traumatizing me deeply.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, my brother uses that with his daughter. It literally kills her. Like, she screams and cries if he mentions that he's going to send her to Pleasure Island.
No.
It's cruel, really. It's really fucked up, Dan. You shouldn't do that. Yeah, no, I enjoyed this one. I did feel like the ending, it kind of... I'm going to throw the question out to you guys. Is this a kid's movie, guys?
So,
no.
Quick note about the storytelling. You're right, Joe. And even Andrea mentioned that the last act felt a bit rushed. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
Like when the cricket suddenly, I know how to escape. Like,
yeah,
what? Okay.
Yeah, but that's my question. Is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio a kids movie? Because I don't think it is.
I don't think it is.
Is Pan's Labyrinth a kids movie?
No, absolutely not.
Exactly.
No,
So,
of course not.
It's not. There's a guy like drinks a shot of whiskey through his like open jaw and it falls out. That's definitely not a kids movie. Which I don't think Del Toro set out to make a kids movie, but he's obviously taken a tale which is very like it's drawn. Like kids are drawn to it because of the animated Pinocchio and now the Robert Zemeckis trash that somehow exists.
I don't know, how was that made? I really don't
knows.
guess.
You throw lots of money, all right?
Yes, against the wall.
No. On shit, basically.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I also follow this channel called. Anyway, there's another channel, filmmaking channel, where they interview screenwriters,
Okay.
and the critic was mentioning, in fact, like Pinocchio's, like why are they doing these live action movies? And there's a scene in Film Courage. The channel is called Film Courage, and the guy being interviewed mentions a scene in Pinocchio where apparently Pinocchio points at a pile of shit, and the interviewee says like it's like the creators were winking at us to show that they know that this is a pile of shit. To the point that the pile of shit had more character than Pinocchio himself.
Oh my god.
So,
But yeah,
No.
to bring back to my point before of it not being a kids movie, I don't think he was trying to make this for kids, but then it feels like the third act was kind of wrapped up in the way that you would do a kids movie, where it relies a lot on convenience and quick things happening. And I don't know, something about the ending, despite it being quite like beautiful language put together, just fell really flat with me.
I think the issue was, and this is one of the comments I wanted to say, that tonally sometimes it's a little jarring. There are some moments where like there's really heavy themes of like grief and you know, loss,
Yeah.
and then there's like Pinocchio singing.
Yeah, like
Sometimes
even
that
the way Pinocchio,
puts me a little
even
off.
the way Pinocchio speaks, like he's going, oh boy, papa, oh boy, and like that. He's written like he's a kids movie character, but then everyone around him is a
Exactly.
grizzled, fucking depressed mess. Like,
no, I do think that's how it was meant to be. As in,
I'm sure
the
it's
whole
a
point
choice.
is of
Yeah.
Pinocchio
Everyone.
being you know, really naive.
Yeah.
And he has this natural rebelliousness to himself. But sometimes it was kind of tonally jarring. And like you said, especially the ending.
Yeah.
Like Franco said, the ending is rushed.
Yeah.
Way too rushed. And I think they added a lot of stuff midway through the movie that really slowed down the pace of this movie. It's like 2 hours, I
Yeah, it
think.
felt really long in the middle.
And felt really long.
But it is good though. Like at the same time,
No, it's good.
It is a good film.
It's good.
Um,
Honestly, I think it will be one of my favorite movies of the year.
Possibly,
to be
yeah.
honest. Might fit into my top 10.
I'm gonna steal Franco's segment here, and I want to throw a piece of trivia at you. Do you know who was originally cast as Sebastian J. Cricket instead of Ewan McGregor, but he had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts?
No idea.
Oh, idea.
I'm really upset to tell you this because I really wish it happened, but it was Tom Waits.
Okay.
Yes.
And I can't imagine what Sebastian J. Cricket would have sounded like with the
Hey,
voice
Pinocchio.
of
He would be right now.
yeah.
No, Pinocchio.
Yeah.
What you doing, Pinocchio? You shot off.
it would have taken the movie from a 4 to a 5 for me.
Hey,
Now you're reminding me of Mandalorian.
Well, and Nick Nolte.
Oh.
Yeah, that's another similar voice. So they sound like a cigarette. If a cigarette could speak, So that's the voice to
But
have.
to be fair, talking about the voice acting, I was quite happy with the voice acting.
Oh yeah,
in
no,
this.
like
Yes,
like
yes.
saying that Ewan McGregor was very good. I thought as David Bradley as Geppetto was
Geppetto.
very good as well.
I was
he was
surprised
really
by
good.
that.
Really
yeah.
good.
Christoph Waltz as Count
Christoph
Volpe,
Waltz.
very
Oh.
very good. Kate,
I recognized the accent
yeah,
instantly
Kate,
when he
Kate
started speaking.
Blanchett as a monkey.
Yeah.
It was Tilda Swinton as the as Death.
Her and Gwendolyn Christie as the sisters. They were sisters, right?
I believe so.
I
The
think.
twin sisters.
Yeah.
And guys, how much did you cringe? Someone said Spazzatura? Madonna. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Spazzatura.
Spazzatura.
Come here, Spazzatura.
That's why I was getting a bit confused, and I mean Hollywood stuff does this all the time, where when they're in the village in Italy, the villagers are all like stereotypically Italian.
Buongiorno.
Lala.
But then
Buongiorno.
David Bradley is quite obviously from England.
That was weird. That was a weird choice.
So is Pinocchio. Like, it's a choice, but I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, I don't know how seriously I would have taken it if they were all sounding like Super Mario. So
It's me, Mario.
No, it's true because there's the woman saying, "Oh, el padre perfetto,"
Yeah.
and like natural Italian,
Yeah.
and then there's him going in his English accent.
Yeah.
It felt a little weird, but as in it's accents.
No,
and it's
I
Hollywood.
didn't even mind. I mean, now that you mention it, it's like, you're right. That's another thing.
yeah, so it's not a make or break issue.
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
No,
just
it's
personal.
the make or break
preference.
issues are, for example, you were speaking about the tones. I found the musical numbers were quite.
I didn't like them.
I didn't like them
like,
either. I don't know why they were there in the first place.
It's Guillermo del Toro trying his hand in musicals.
Actually, there was one decent one. And it was one of the shorter ones when he first leaves to join the carnival. The Ciao Papa one. That was the one. If there was just that one in the film, I'd have been like, yeah, that's good.
That's really good.
Fair enough.
Actually, sorry. It's a meme I saw on the A24 appreciation group on Facebook. They made a meme with Pern because Pinocchio goes, "I'm a star," and
That's I have
Very
to see
good.
this.
Very good.
I think I'm in that group. I'll look it up.
Anyway,
All right, guys. So one last movie to talk about. I'm going to rush through this because I don't have very strong opinions about it. I know Joe does.
We'll get there.
And that's Emancipation, directed by what was once one of my favorite actors, who directed one of my all-time favorite movies, Training Day, starring Will Smith and Ben Foster. I didn't even know it was Ben Foster, to be honest, till after I looked up the movie. Anyway, so I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it. I watched it. It was a movie. It was very grey.
You sound like Harry Styles describing
yeah.
Don't Worry, Darling.
And it was a movie. It was okay. I didn't mind it. As in, all right, let me go through the plot first, and then I'll give my opinion. So we have Will Smith, who plays the Haitian slave who was sold to the Confederate Army. We see him work on a railroad in these obviously horrible conditions as a slave. He had promised his wife and children he would return, and that's pretty much the whole movie. Will Smith trying to escape from the Confederates, with Ben Foster chasing after him as he battles it out with alligators and like this Ben Foster, who I was surprised by how average Ben Foster was in this movie. That's something I wanted to say, because I love Ben Foster and he was really average in this movie, I thought. Will Smith, as a performance, I did not mind. I couldn't shake off the feeling that this was Will Smith, but I think he did his best, to be honest, in the role.
It kind of feels like Will Smith's 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. In
that.
fact, that's my next comment. Imagine 12 Years a Slave and The Revenant have a really, really disappointing child.
Yeah.
That's what I thought about the movie. So overall, I didn't hate Will Smith's performance. I thought the cinematography was great. I love long takes, and there were a lot of long takes. Unfortunately, all the like spectacular drone shots and all the very beautifully shot cinematography is ruined by the grey Instagram filter added to the movie. The monochrome with like hints of green and red here and there.
Frank,
I don't know why it was added.
yeah. Franco, to make you understand how this movie looks, imagine someone shot S-Log but didn't color correct.
There was a okay battle sequence near the end of the film. It came out of nowhere. I didn't understand where it came from, but I didn't hate it. The characters were really thinly written, which was a surprise for me because Fuqua, generally his characters are fascinating, and in this, you go through 2 hours of watching Will Smith and you literally learn nothing about his character.
Yeah.
And all you learn about him is that he's religious and he's devoted to his family. Whoop-de-doo. Like, give us a bit more. So, like I said, it was a movie. I didn't hate it. I didn't like it.
I can
It was okay.
I can imagine a rating. Andrea Gavina's rating called Whoop-de-doo. How much?
Yeah, like a,
Joe, I'm looking forward to
on the
hearing
film
your thoughts.
poster. Whoop-de-doo.
not 2 thumbs up. Whoop-de-doo.
My thoughts. Where to start? Okay, Fuqua. I used to really like Fuqua as well. I'm actually one of his defenders of his remake of The Magnificent Seven, because despite not having very interesting characters, that movie's fun. Like, that's the least it can be. But this shit, I was just like, it's just so nothing, and like, I don't understand the choice to not color the movie. Like, just make it black and white, dude. Like, why have some hints of actual color in it? Will Smith has the same expression the entire time. Like, he's visibly trying really hard, and like, what
He did try, didn't he? He really
he's really trying, but he's just got nothing to work with. That's the problem.
He does. It's
Like,
true.
I
It's true.
honestly can't even tell you the character's name.
Still,
Like,
I don't know what was
I
his
should
name.
know the main character's name in a movie, especially one focused on such a sensitive topic such as slavery in the United States.
And the photograph of his character is so iconic.
Yes, but because then that's
too.
what I looked up, because obviously this film has the title card based on a true story.
Okay.
And I always take that with a massive pinch of salt. And I looked up, and the only basis of true story that this film has is that photo exists. So Fuqua, or whoever wrote this, saw that photo and went, okay, superhero origin story for the guy with scars on his back, basically. But yeah, it's a lot of nothing. And I do feel like with a film like this, there were a part of me was really hoping when Ben Foster's character is introduced. Now, Ben Foster, he's an actor that frustrates me to no end, because he had like a time where he was just he was just appearing as a side character in bullshit, like when he did Warcraft, or like when he did Phone Booth, some like proper 2000s trash, or like 2010s trash. But then he goes and he does Hell or High Water, and he's fucking incredible in Hell or High Water. And then he does Leave No Trace, and he's even better in Leave No Trace, and he's a very, very talented guy. But then he does cartoon character racist in Emancipation.
His character was... I couldn't get his character.
His character is just like, I'm a racist, and I'm the best hunter the world has ever seen, and we don't know why. Why does this guy have this superpower to hunt black people? We don't know.
That's
because
it.
the way he
hunts black people.
The way he hunts, we don't even see like the method to his madness. He's just always on this guy's trail somehow throughout the entire film. Now, what I was hoping with Fuqua at the helm was that this movie was going to start pretty serious, and then it was just going to go, fuck it, we're a B-movie revenge thriller. And that would have been fresh, making something with like this very, very sad and serious topic of slavery in the United States, but making it a revenge thriller where, I mean, it could have been like, give the main character, like Will Smith's character, more motivation. Ben Foster's character kills his family, and then
that's what I was hoping.
then rather than slave on the run, it's the hunter becomes the hunted. You know, that could have been really cool, and then like even the aesthetic probably would have played a bit more into it. But it felt like it tried to be this really self-serious thing with like a survival movie where not all that much happens. And guys, the biggest problem is in a film like this, which is obviously it's trying to sell not a narrative, but a message, and a very important message, and it's trying to appeal to the Academy with the message that it's trying to send. I should not laugh at a point in this film unless a joke has explicitly been told, right? But there's a certain scene which, it's not a spoiler because it's in the trailer, but there's a scene where he gets attacked by an alligator in a river, and I was fucking beside myself at how stupid that scene was. Like I can very much like forgive a film for being unrealistic with certain things, and like I can basically separate film from reality, and I can like I watch Die Hard and I don't go, he would have totally died if he did that. There's no fun in that. But when you're trying to be this serious with this serious of a topic, you can't really do that. So when you stop a fully grown alligator with a piece of wood,
with a small knife,
I believe an alligator can bite down with something like 600 pounds of force. It's definitely getting through that stick, and it's definitely fucking you up. There's weird scenes just like that. Like, I feel,
but then Will Smith is not bad in it.
No, but at the same time, he's a model more than he is an actor in this, where he looks like disheveled and like fucked up for the whole movie, and he's
but his physical acting was good. I liked his physical acting in this.
I just wish there was more to him,
guys,
than a physical performance.
That's it. The writing.
Guys, Matt, speaking of awards, the Emancipation was snubbed by the Golden Globes. I'm seeing the news right now. And by the way, when the Jenna Ortega got a nomination for actress in a TV series.
Yeah, she was very good on Wednesday.
But we have also to consider the fact: is this movie like a sort of apology, so to speak, because of the slides?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think it's trying to be sort of like, as Andrea mentioned, The Revenant. It's trying to be like this triumphant story of a man's survival and struggle in the face of like nature and also great evil.
This is an Apple TV movie, right? By the way.
Yes.
Yep. And Apple TV generally make pretty good stuff. Which is why I was really looking forward to it. Apple TV have some very, very good series and movies.
Yeah.
True.
So who I wanted to see more of in this film when they introduced him was Stephen Ogg. So Stephen Ogg, you guys might know, was Trevor Phillips in Grand Theft Auto 5. If you guys play Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yes, I did. Yeah. Oh my God!
I wanted more from him because
who was he?
He was one of the Confederate generals at the beginning. Spoiler: the one that loses his hand.
Oh, all right. Okay.
I wanted more from him just because he's very much a larger-than-life character. He would have been better as the sort of cartoon character racist than Ben Foster is.
Stephen Ogg.
Vera. No, I'm picturing
exactly.
him.
I'm picturing now like this like B-movie thriller with Stephen Ogg as this like tyrant Confederate like leader that kills the family.
But he was taken out really early.
Yes, he's taken out of the film criminally early.
That was so. That was what I. And I didn't try to in my review. I knew when I was watching the movie, I wanted to take a note of it, and I forgot.
Yeah.
How disappointed I was. He was taken out so early.
All we get is Ben Foster whistling at dogs for 2 hours.
But funny enough, Emancipation is at 91% the audience rating.
Really?
Yep.
What?
On Rotten Tomatoes.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. You're joking, right?
No, I'm not joking. I'm just checking right now. Because I'm checking.
No, you're not joking. But to be fair, it's only 50 verified ratings, so it could be.
True.
As in, to be fair, it's not it's shot quite well. What do you think about the cinematography,
No,
Joe?
I mean, it's shot very, very capably. I can't understand the color choice because it does.
It's drone. It looks
Yeah,
drone.
like it's just ugly to look at. Like it's because black and white can look beautiful. You get films like The Lighthouse. That's one that comes to mind straight away.
Oh,
The black and white
check.
cinematography in that is fucking out of this world. This just, it's like as an editor, it looks unfinished when you give it that kind of look.
So
True. All right. So that's
But yeah,
with regard to reviews.
I do not recommend Emancipation, guys.
No.
If that wasn't clear already, I didn't enjoy
So
it.
Joe doesn't recommend it. I won't say I don't recommend it. If you have nothing to do for 2 hours, and if you're looking
and
for
nothing to watch, basically.
specifically a Civil War movie, you have to be a big fan of Civil War movies.
Weird genre.
There is a battle sequence at the end which you might enjoy. I'll say that because
Yeah,
it is quite capably shot.
yeah.
It comes out of nowhere. It has, I mean,
Yeah.
it does kind of have a little bit to do with the plot, but the developing plot wasn't related to the battle.
Yeah. If you had put that war sequence in the beginning of the film, I would have instantly been more in. So,
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. And then he ends up as a slave
yeah, would have been
as a consequence of the
would have
battle.
been a much better movie. But hey, what do I know? I'm not Antoine Fuqua.
What's the actor's name? Stephen Ogg.
Yep.
Kill his family
Yep, and then
and make it a revenge.
exactly, and then it's the Nightingale, but in
it's the Nightingale,
but
exactly.
Confederate America.
Sure,
Oh, that's a really
I
good
haven't
movie.
seen-
I
haven't
fucking loved the Nightingale. I had the pleasure of
Oh,
seeing.
The
I had the pleasure of
Nightingale.
seeing that
Yeah.
at a press screening at
It-
Venice Film Festival. At a certain point in the film, which I'm sure you guys will know, at least 40
Oh.
people up and left.
Sistra.
Yes,
Jennifer
I watched it with my dad.
Jennifer Kent.
Wow. yes. Oh God, I can't wait to see what she does next.
Sistra.
That movie was.
Okay,
I had no expectations for it.
I've
This
done
was
some
really good,
digging
though.
on the writer of Emancipation. It's not good, guys. So the writer of Emancipation is a guy called Bill Collage, or College. I don't know how to pronounce that name. He has also written Assassin's Creed,
Oh my God.
Allegiant,
I haven't watched that,
Tower Heist.
and I haven't watched that either.
But the real cherry on top is he was the writer of the 2014 massively failed epic Exodus Squadron
Squadron
Kings.
Kings.
Oh my God, I watched that though. Ilala, that was, I think,
I haven't
that
put
is
myself through that.
one of the worst written movies I have ever watched.
Yeah, I haven't.
Now I understand why the battle scene is added randomly in.
Yeah,
It all makes sense because Exodus had the most random of stuff. I didn't know, but now I can confirm it wasn't an issue just with the editing. It was the writing in that as well, because the editing in that was horrific. Like battle sequences come out of nowhere,
Yeah.
suddenly a monster appears, and none of it makes sense. None of it is explained before. No. Yeah, makes sense. Why would they choose him as a writer for like a serious Oscar bait movie? That's a very weird choice.
no idea.
Very
Good
weird.
agent, maybe.
That's very.
That has to be. I'm looking at him now on Rotten Tomatoes. Surprisingly, Emancipation is his highest rated movie
Yeah, it's that.
at 47%.
Yeah, it's not doing well with critics.
Madonna has a series, the Divergent series.
The Legion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one, Allegiant.
Yeah.
That's the one you mentioned.
Transport.
11% tomato.
Yeah.
Average. All right, guys. Anything else to say about Emancipation? Our favorite movie of the night?
No, I think I said enough.
Yeah, we
Actually, Joe, I want to suggest something for the next episode.
Uh-huh.
Andrea, you should watch The Empty Man.
Oh,
The what?
Yes, what the Empty Man, yes. Yeah.
Let me see if I've watched it, because
You
I've watched
definitely
so many
haven't.
movies.
No one's the only me and Franco, the only two people in the world that have
No,
seen The
I
Empty
haven't
Man.
watched this.
And so far in Prickly Pears, yes, it's only me and you. But
It's on Disney Plus.
It is. and
It is.
It might leave pretty soon.
Yeah, I have to watch it this week.
Because I'm really curious about what you think about it.
And we need to find a week where the episode is not completely focused, but almost completely focused on our top 10.
Yeah, I mean, I would say we do that right before the year is up, I guess. So the last episode before the new year. I'll actually be in Malta for that. So,
ooh, nice.
Yeah, actually, there was some news about top 10 from our guys, the Daniels. From apparently it's about toxic fandom. Some of the lists are leaving out Everything Everywhere All at Once out of the top 10 movies.
criminal.
I might. I might.
What?
Yeah, I might. As in, not I might. I'm quite certain. It will.
Okay, but it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Fuck
don't put yourself on Twitter because they're gonna like chase your ass down.
So they should.
I don't care.
No.
I don't care. But that's a discussion for another day. We have hours to talk about that. All right, guys. I hope you all enjoyed listening to our Descent into Madness podcast. We had a lot to talk about. All the DC controversy, all the upheaval, the Game Awards, all the movies we reviewed. Emancipation are one of our top 10 movies of the year, together with Strange World. And I had a blast. Joe.
I had a great time despite some of the films. I promise to be less negative and cynical next week, although I could be lying to myself.
No. To be fair, we do need a cynical guy on the podcast.
I don't want to get a rep, you know.
Nah.
Too late now.
Too late now.
Oh well, might as well steer into the skid.
No.
Franco.
No, it was a great show. I encourage our listeners to leave a comment once this podcast is on YouTube, and do suggest some movies we can review and watch. And that's all I can say. Let's keep it up, guys. I look forward to the next episode.
Yep, very much so. All right, so thank you so much for watching and listening, guys. Hope you had a good time. As always, like Franco said, don't forget to leave a comment, like, follow, subscription, and all the cheers, and we'll see you guys next week. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.